Okay, slope fields. Now, slope fields have been a little bit of a pain in some people's artichokes in the past, but really they're not that complicated. It's just where is the slope at that point? Okay? So, here's a slope field for the differential equation dy dx equals negative x over y. You're going, whoa, what's going on there? Well, this says slope because it's the derivative. Okay? Now, what you do is you pick out a point on the graph, like the point 1, 1. What's the slope at 1, 1 for this function? Well, you put a 1 here and a 1 here. What should the slope be? Negative 1. At 1, 1, it's negative 1. And this one is supposed to be on 1, 1, but it's not. Okay? So, it's negative 1, 1. Okay? So the slope would be negative 1. If we went to 4, 2, what would the slope be? Well, the slope would be negative 4 over 2, which would be negative 2. So if we look at 4, 2, which is this one, it looks like it's a slope of about negative 2. How about we're at 4, negative 1? At 4, negative 1, the slope should be probably negative 4 over negative 1, which is a positive 4, straight up and down almost, which looks like that. Okay? Positive slope. Let's go to negative 2, negative 1. What should that be? Should be the negative and negative 2, which is 2, over negative 1, which is negative 2. At negative 2, 1, negative 1, it's about negative 2. Okay? So you can see how that kind of makes a circle there. Okay? So that's what a slope field is. So at particular points, what should the slope be for this? Okay? So at 0, 1, if we put a 0 in here and a 1 in here, what should the slope be? 0 minus 3 is negative 3 for the slope. At 1, negative 1, we get 2 plus 3, which is 5 for the slope. At 2, negative 2, we get 4 plus 6, which is 10. So on a graph, 0, 1 is about right here. You should have a line. Okay, let me go in a different color. Let me draw my slope field. So we'll go and draw blue. All right. So a negative at 0, 1, you should have a line going down kind of like that with slope of negative 3. At 1, negative 1, the slope should be, your slope field should be 5. And at 2, negative 2, your slope field is like at 10, almost straight up and down. Okay, so that's what a slope field is. So which of these would be the slope field for x minus y? So for me, I don't try to memorize what the equation's supposed to look like. I just start picking out points and figuring out what the slope is. Geez, that was fast, Miles. Okay. 1, 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. At 1, 1, it should be 0. That's not 0. So these aren't 0, but that one is 0. And then 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, you can see it's all zeros. If you went to 6, 2, it'd be 6 minus 2, which is 4. That should be a slope of positive 4. That could be, that is definitely not, and so on. But yeah, C is a choice. Okay? All right. when we get to these, the initial condition is 0, -1. So we're going to start right here at 0, -1. And we want it, what is the solution as we go greater than or equal to 0? What do you think is happening here? Well, we have a positive slope, and then it starts flattening out, and then this thing signifies, and this thing signifies an asymptote. Okay? So, it says, what is the range? Well, the lowest value for the range is -1 because that's where we start, and we're just looking for when x is greater than or equal to 0. If it was all numbers, then it'd be -infinity up to 1. But since we start right here, and we start at 0, then it's just -1 to 1, and it's an asymptote at 1. Okay? What's the general solution for this one? Which one would be the solution? Well, what would y equals x look like? Okay. Well, y equals x is a line going like this. Okay. If we go x plus 2, y equals x plus 2, it's a line like this. If we go y equals x plus -12, it's a line way down here like this, but it's still going up at that slope. So every line should have that slope. So it's definitely not that one. X squared is a parabola. So it should be negative on the left side, positive on the right side. Okay? Now, the plus c is, well, what if c is 0, it should be a 0 slope here. If c is like -4, it should have a 0 slope here. If c is 6, it should have a 0 slope here. So this looks like it could be a parabola. Negative slopes and then positive slopes. I looked up when I drew that, and that was really bad. Okay? So that one looks like it could work. X equals y squared. Do you know what x equals y squared looks like? Looks like a parabola going this way. Is this a parabola going this way? No, it's not. Y squared equals x squared is a hyperbola. So that would be like that or like that. I forget. But, it's definitely not that. And x squared plus y squared is a circle. Okay? This is definitely showing a parabola. So it'd be that one. Last one. Okay. We start out at 0, 1. 0, 1. Okay? And we want it for just the numbers greater than 0. So we start at 0. Now, it looks like we're going at a positive slope, and it flattens out close to 4. So we go from 1 to 4. Not 0 to 4, okay, but 1 to 4, because that's where we started out at 1, when it's greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Slope fields. You can work with slope fields.